Guys. So, of course, we're doing cross-server showdown and such. I'm just running my normal Plume Monarch build. A couple of, noticeable, like the anti-regen that we get with the new PAL, and I'm also running the Rabid that we got. Of course, obviously, if you want to pick up any of that stuff, make sure to check the description down below if you want to save some money playing Legend of Mushroom. But naturally, at this point, guys, I'm pretty much. No, I'm not having too bad of a time. I had some players try to attack me earlier, and I don't know if they'll attempt it or not. They did, and they just, I don't know, it kind of fell apart on entry for them. They didn't really get very far at all. One of the nice things is that a lot of the combos and such kind of scales up the amount of character attack that we have, so it kind of works out to, it's like a nice scaling factor that we build up damage over time. Of course, I'm using Alien Dimension. I got Cheetah Zero. I've got the Spectral Chance, so we've got like pretty much everything in place to be kind of as anti-PvP as we can be, and yet simultaneously be really efficient for these main bosses, which if you ever want to get like a lot of points in Legend of Mushroom, especially during cross-server showdown, you just want to go after the light spawn, because you'll get like 50k a pop. And for each one you kill, you'll easily do that as a Plume Monarch, because you just need to be able to pretty much drain the amount of boss damage that you're doing. The only reason I don't use like anything too crazy on the points is just simply because if you do that, then you open yourself up to more PvP related encounters, and I'm not a big fan of like just sacrificing that for what is effectively only like a little bit of a gain anyway. So, yeah, well, with a couple of those knocked out, we'll go down here and go knock out the next. And as you can tell, it works great. Of course, I don't know, the Divine Champion staff sounds like it's, going to be pretty decent for some players. I've seen a lot of people roll in the back accessory, which I kind of figured that, at least with this update, there'd be a fair bit of commotion for that, just from the standpoint that this is one of the few times where, you might notice that I also have the, I managed to get the card, so I've actually got the lightning stacks that I'm getting from time to time, which is also kind of neat. So we get nice little lightning stacks from time to time that build up, and obviously that does its fair bit in damage there. You see it from the yellow thunder from time to time. Doesn't come up very often, but that's the new card that I'm using at the moment, and the Thunderbolt stacks obviously are pretty handy. But yeah, so like here we're already at 122k points. Now, is this ideal if you're wanting to do like, hitting monsters? Not really. I mean, this is just purely from a points perspective, and most of the time you can do the other missions without a lot of trouble. For, another 2,000, you can go ransack the older, not so active states, and you won't have any trouble doing it. Like here, I mean, obviously I'm not the only one trying to clear these out, so you tend to find that whichever state is the most active is ultimately going to be the one that you kind of don't have like a ton of time on cross-server showdown. And it is also kind of dependent on the hour of the day that you're doing it in too, because certain hours are more active than others. But yeah, even in this instance, we're not doing that bad at all. At least, from what we've got set up so far. Of course, I will recommend that. It's like here's half, and chances are that's probably going to end up in a loss, because I'm going to guess this guy's probably a little better well set up than I am. He's probably a couple 100 mil, which is fine, because what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and teleport revive, because we already got what we needed. And with 4 minutes on the clock, then we'll go ahead and teleport, and we'll actually jump out of the map. And I always like it going to the light kingdom is what I like to do. And then I like to look for where a boss would be, and then set it from any unit to monsters only, and just basically crab out all your monsters as much as possible. Of course, you got to run speed up, try and get kind of in those areas and knock them out as quick as you can. Because again, you're really trying to kind of both do the missions for, so like for example, I could just go and hit any unit. The moment you do that though, you tend to attract a lot of attention. And it doesn't take long in an active state for like somebody to start coming after you relatively quickly when you start doing this. Usually after about 3, you need to then probably teleport either out of this kingdom or to another one. Otherwise, as you'll see here shortly, I'll eventually attract the attention of somebody. But at this particular point, I'm not really don't really care that much, honestly. Oh heck, one of the rare times where I'm like, I'm actually gonna die. Okay, so we'll like hop over here. I got a bunch of these. Luckily, with Spectral Champ, we won't really have any trouble. We might actually have a hard time. I don't know, maybe not. Because the problem is we're like killing them so fast. We actually need somebody with chonky, like health and very little damage. It's kind of one of the few circumstances where the Spectral Champ kind of benefits from. Yeah, so like right there, there's a Sino. Now, I don't know. I think in this instance, we'll actually be able to survive because this player's not very good. It's just not, there's not enough damage coming off of Sino to really warrant like any threat there, really. Just not, they're not good enough. But we should be able to clear quite a few of these. And that adds like another minute or so to our timer after like a certain number of kills. Don't quote me exactly how many, but it's like at least 6 or 7. I think it's right around that. But yeah, as you can tell, we're just going to clear these out. Eventually, we'll probably run into like half here in a minute or two because it doesn't take long for them to pick up on the bounty. But in the meantime, we might as well just go ahead and clear as many as we can. Get the most points we can. Make use of that timer as much as we can, anyway. It's always the monsters that I find I tend to be like the slowest one, and it's mainly just doing lack thereof of finding them. That is, like finding players' pockets and just clearing out players like crazy is really not that hard. It's gonna be all the ones that you can't grab in crossover showdown that's where it becomes kind of challenging. But like here's like a nice pocket of them, so we can grab like a bunch here. And that might be enough to get us at least started. And again, the thunder stacks are crazy. It's like super helpful. The only problem is you kind of need a lot of skill damage in order to really make use of it. So I feel like mages will probably take advantage of this. But I don't know. I mean, I haven't run a mage build yet, and I'm going to at some point. It's just in order to do it, you've really got to kind of, how do you say, you got to work on building around that idea in mind. Let's go down here. This looks like a nice pocket. It's kind of a whole mishmash of everything from players to monsters down here, so we can grab a bunch. Obviously, they're mostly concerned with the light spawn right now, but I don't know if this is a Sino or not. Wasn't paying very close attention. Guess not. Very similar though. All right, so yeah, just like that, in one fell swoop, we got 142k, which that's more than likely enough to get pretty much all of them except for the monsters. Now, as far as the rewards go, I mean, I'll always pick up the lamps, the pickaxes, and then from in here, I like to grab everything like the clock winders. On the big ticket items, if you're starting out, then you'll probably want to grab like your, probably everything from like, I would say probably your skills first. Eventually, you'll start grabbing empowerment gears and those kind of things. But I mean, after a certain point, what I actually do a lot of the time is I'll pick up like a reversal potion, or even grabbing awakening scrolls are kind of a lackluster idea to me because of all of what you gain really from the reversal potion. To me, the reversal potions are like the most desired item in here, just because of the cost associated to getting them. But otherwise, well, we'll go ahead and just with what we've got, we should be able to just very easily pick up and grab the rest of these without any trouble. Yeah, with 15k left over. And then that's pretty much that for Grass Server Showdown. But yeah, I mean, really, like I was saying, this is that Lord of Champions that I was showing you off, and that's all coming off of after the battle starting. You get to do 1500% bleed skill damage, and you get to stun them, which is pretty handy. Then again, if you're wanting to like really kind of max that out, I mean, again, a lot of it really comes down to one part needing a lot of skill damage, which as you can see, I've only got 500 in this build. So like if you wanted to bring it up into the max possible, you wind up kind of having to sacrifice. I mean, you kind of have a couple of choices in here. I mean, I guess you could, like, if you wanted to take your crit damage bonus and dump it into this. This is just going to give you a little bit more consistency. And at even 200%, that's still better than nothing. I mean, we just throw what we got left over in there. But, let's see here. I'll grab the daily reward here. Pick up these. But, even with that kind of like tacked on, that's brought our basic attack up a fair bit, but the skill damage itself is at like 677. So like if I brought up either that, or where I could go into class awakening and then you would switch the seal to skill seal, and that would be another way of tackling this. So like like in this case, I know that I need a little bit more health and a little bit more attack, and then maybe a little bit on defense. And well, so actually, here, let's just do this. We'll bring this up to 46. We'll bring this up to 41. And then we'll bring this up to like 16 and dump the rest into skill damage, which should bring us up a fair bit. And then with what's left over, we can just dump that into crit. I mean, obviously you can throw this into like skill crit if you wanted to, but I mean, the point remains. But when you do it that way, then your skill damage is like 804 in this instance. And that should add a lot of consistency. I mean, the one thing I will say is I run all combo. And in my particular build, the only downside is the HP right now. Like, you kind of see how defense and HP are both kind of lackluster, and that's, I guess, okay, because we're not, like, crazy high level in either one right now, and that's really just a symptom of the fact that you need so much devoted into, well, like, even on these, like, I'm fixing to leap, so right now I'm at 122k, but, like, once you leap and you get into 80, and then you get to 80 down here, that's when it really takes off. And you get into the higher rankings. And obviously, then there's also what goes into this. So like here I only need like 600 or 700 more. Which usually in Soul Rush, I would doubt it. Yeah, I wouldn't say that there's really much to worry here. The only thing that you need to know is start on Monday. We do have Relic Rush, which, if you hadn't noticed, I've been saving quite a bit of relic for the last couple of days. So we'll kind of get a feel for that and how that turns out. The other thing, too, is, if you didn't already know, right, is that they do have a skin. So you can go down here and set it up to use the rabbit skin, which is kind of neat. So That's what the rabbit skin looks like, in case you're wondering. And then if you hit auto, then he jumps out, which is kind of cool. But in case anybody didn't already know this, that is one of the things that came new with the update. I honestly think this is like one of the better skins that we've got, just because he comes out of a goddamn washing machine. But in any case, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.